A very good morning to all of you students. Hope you all will be fine. Okay. So students, last video, what we have taken? In last video, we have started the chapter number 2, that is new kings and kingdoms. Okay. The first topic we have seen, that is the emergence of the new dynasties. Okay, how the new dynasties have emerged. Okay. Now today's students, in this video we are going to discuss about the administration of the kingdoms. Okay, when these new kings emerged their own kingdoms. Okay, so how they run their kingdoms. Okay, how they run their kingdoms. Okay, and how they administrate their kingdoms. Okay, that we have to see. Okay, so students, many new kings adopted the titles. Okay, if you have seen in the movies also, in the Hindi movies. Okay, when the in historical movie, when the kings entered in the court. Okay, so he was awarded with the many precious titles like Chakravarti. Okay, Shri Maharaja Dhiraj. Okay, so all these titles were given to the kings. Okay, all the titles were given to the kings. Which type of titles are given to the kings, students? The titles like Maharaja Dhiraj. Okay, Tribhuvan Chakravarti. Okay, these all the titles are given to the kings. Okay, and kings also share their powers. Okay, now these type of kings, those who are emerged, those who have established their new kingdoms, they have also shared their powers. Okay, they also shared their powers. Okay, so question here is that, students, question arises is that with whom they have shared the powers. Okay, so kings have shared the powers with the samantas. Okay, peasants it means farmers. Okay, kings have shared their powers with the farmers. Okay, samantas. Okay, samanta it means senapati. Okay, and then traders, it means businessmen. Kings also shared their powers with the businessmen. Why? Because whenever the kings want tax, so at that time the businessman is very helpful. So the kings cannot the different type of kings, they have to maintain the relation with the businessmen. Okay, because businessmen and traders are very helpful to the kings in terms of the money. Okay, and Brahmins as well. Okay, so they shared their powers with the samantas, farmers. Okay, Brahmins, businessmen. Okay, so with all these people, the king have maintained his relations. Okay, so in this, resources were obtained from the sources like the farmers. Okay, now from where the resources are come. Okay, so resources were come from the farmers. Okay, cattle keepers. It means those people who rear the cattle, those people who keep the cattle. Okay, so cattle keepers, farmers, artists, all the people paid the tax to the kings. Okay, and by this the kings got the resource. Kings got the financial resource as well as the different type of resource. Okay, and revenue. Okay, revenue was also collected from the businessmen, traders. Okay, because to run the kingdom, okay, to run the empire, to run the kingdom, the financial needs are very essential. Okay, finance is very essential. Okay, so these financial needs are fulfilled by the revenue, and this revenue was paid by traders, businessmen. Okay, this revenue was paid by traders or businessmen. Clear, students? Okay, then revenue was used to finance the. Okay, now how this revenue was useful. Okay, what were the different type of uses of the revenue. Okay, so the revenue was useful in the different type of tasks, like what, like a construction of temples. Okay, if king wanted to construct any temple. Okay, if king wants to construct any temple, then also this money will be helpful. The money of revenue will be helpful. Okay, the fort, if king want to build any fort for the protection of the empire, then also the revenue is very helpful. Okay, and then if king wants to fight any war with the enemies, then also the king needs the finance, and this finance will come from the revenue. Okay students, so it is very clear in your mind. Okay, so revenue collection. Now it is clear that the revenue was very useful to the kings, and the king has to collect the revenue. Okay, but the king has assigned this work to whom? Okay, whom is authorized to who is authorized person to collect the revenue? Okay, who is the authorized person to collect the revenue? Okay, so the revenue collection work was given to those who are at the high position. Okay, so revenue collection work. Okay, those people who are authorized, which are at the high post. Okay, those people who were at the authorized, okay, who were at the high post. Okay, like samantas, okay, like brahmins. Okay, so these all the farmers, traders. Okay, from all these people, the people who were at the highest position, they are authorized and they have the right to collect the revenue. All the people didn't have the right to collect the revenue, but only those who have the powerful position, they only have the right to collect the revenue. Am I clear to you, students? Are you getting my point? Okay. And in army, okay, if the empire is established, then definitely the empire is having its own army, okay, to protect the empire, to protect the kingdom. Okay, so when we talk about the army, so the high position were given to the close relatives of the king. Okay, the high positions were given to the close relatives of the kings. Okay, like in today's time in monarchy also the same scenario you can see. In the monarchy, the countries in which the monarchy system is there, okay, so you can also see the same type of scenario in those countries also. Okay, where the king's relative only they only hold the important positions. Okay, important and very crucial positions are held by the king's relatives also. So in the earlier time, that was the scenario. Most of the important positions were captured by the king's relatives only. Okay, so this was about the administration of the empire, about the administration of the kingdoms. Okay, and about the military. Okay, about the revenue and all this we have talked. Okay, now we will talk about the prashasti and land grants. What we have to talk about prashasti and land grants. What is the meaning of prashasti, student? So here prashasti, it means like a certificate. Okay, prashasti like a certificate that you got in the any competition or whatever, for the best performance you will get. No, so that prashasti is known as certificate. Okay, and land grant, it means the land is given to the different type of people in the donations. Okay, so prashasti contains what? Prashasti contains that may not be true, but it will tell about the rulers. Okay, whatever the prashastis are telling, or whatever the details were written in the prashasti, whatever the details are written in the prashasti, it is not necessary, students, these all the details will be right, or these all the details will be true only. Okay, sometimes these details are wrong also, sometimes these details are mismatched also. Okay, but indirectly it will give the very important information about the rulers. It will give the very important and a very crucial decision, very crucial important information you will get about the rulers or the kings. Okay, and by whom these prashastis were prepared. Okay, so these prashastis were prepared or composed by the learned Brahmins. Okay, because they have only the right to compose the prashasti, and they only deserve to compose this prashasti. Okay, because they at that time the Brahmins were only the people who were the literate people, the most literate people in the society. So that's why this work was assigned to the Brahmins also. Brahmins only. Okay, to write down the Prashasti, this work was assigned to the Brahmins only. Okay, and in return of this Prashasti, when Brahmins return this Prashasti, so in return, the kings, what did the kings do? Okay, so the kings rewarded the Brahmins by the land grants. Okay, because by this Prashasti, obviously in this Prashastis, the Brahmins will reward the kings. Okay, the Brahmins will appreciate the kings definitely. Okay, because they cannot criticize the kings. If they will criticize, then they will die by the kings. So Brahmins definitely they have to appreciate the kings. Okay, whatever the right or wrong, but in short they have to appreciate the kings. Okay, and everyone likes his or her appreciations. Okay, for example, you also like your appreciation. Am I right, students? So whenever the Brahmins appreciated the kings, so at that time kings are very pleased, and they rewarded the Brahmins with the different type of land grants. Okay, and sometimes they also receive the copper plates as a reward. Okay, sometimes they get the copper plates, sometimes they get the land grants as the reward from the king's side. Okay, now when we talk about the 12th century, so in 12th century the poem was written. The poem was written in the Sanskrit, which contained the history of the Kashmiri king. Okay, one poet was there, one Brahmin poet was there who has written the Prashasti, who has written the poem in the form of Prashasti about the Kashmiri king. Okay, in which language? In the Sanskrit language. Okay, and this Sanskrit poem was written by the poet Kalhana. Okay, the name of the poet was Kalhana, Kalhana. Okay, this Sanskrit poem was written by the king Kalhana. Okay, about the Kashmiri king in the Sanskrit language. Okay, it was written by the poet Kalhana. Okay, and he used inscriptions. Okay, that you know the meaning of inscription. Okay, in 6th standard you understood the meaning of inscription, so here I will not clarify the meaning of inscription. Okay, so he used the inscription. He also used the documents. Okay, the poet also used the documents, the poet also used the inscription, and the eyewitness, it means those who have seen with their eyes. Okay, so eyewitness, inscriptions and documents, these all the things are used by the poet Kalhan, okay, to write his accounts. Okay, wherever he write his account, so at that time the Kalhan used all these things, whether it is a document, whether it is an inscription, or it is a eyewitness, or he or she person is an eyewitness. Okay, so all these different kind of things are used by the Kalhana to write the Sanskrit poem about the Kashmiri king. Okay, so students, are you clear in your mind about the Prashasti and land grants? Okay, Prashasti are the certificates which are written by the Brahmin, learned scholar Brahmins about the kings, and in return they will get the land grants. Okay, so by this way this topic also ends, students. Okay, so refer this topic once or twice, so this topic and all the words are clear in your mind. Okay, students, thank you so much. Goodbye.